What's up, YouTube? Hopefully you guys have had a great week. I took the past couple days actually to catch up on some things, which is why I've been a little bit of a delay, but I want to take this opportunity to just talk a little bit about Friday's price action. But more importantly, I really want to talk about how the first week of February has been for me thus far. I'll talk a little bit about my trades with futures as well as my trade with self-funded options. And then I'll touch on a little bit of kind of where I think we're going to head in terms of this week. Okay. So if this is your first time following, please drop a like and subscribe. It means a lot to me. Let's get right into this. So this is TRADERSTATS. I think by now you guys who have been following already know what this is. This is my preferred trading journal, mainly because of the fact that very cost efficient, but also it does everything that I need it to do. I don't need too many bells and whistles for what I do in terms of just logging in my trades. So what we can see so far for the month of February is that we're on this is the futures P&L. This does not show options, by the way. But futures wise, we have a performance of $21,500. And I want to highlight it's P&L, not payout, right? We'll touch on payout a little bit later on because, you know, I don't include, although P&L performance is important, obviously for a lot of us, what hits the bank account is probably going to be the most important thing to us, right? So, but I do want to make sure I differentiate the two because sometimes I think people misinterpret what the P&L is. With that, so far, month's been off to a great start. Haven't had an 86% win rate, which has been phenomenal. I've taken 6 losses out of my 44 trades that I've taken in the month of February. And I should say it's not really 44 trades. It's actually less than that. I'll explain a little bit why later on. And then profit factor of 5, average win rate, and then you got the average time. The reason why the average time is actually quite high compared to my usual is because some of the days that we've had some like choppy market periods where we ranged for a while. So I actually kind of got stuck in that trade for a while. Like I remember a couple of my Asia trades, actually, I entered in and literally we just barcoded for like 2 to 3 hours. And so like those kind of trades are what kind of affects my average time a lot. It's not to say that I'm not willing to hold for longer moves. I think many of you guys have been following for long enough know that I'm more than comfortable holding an overnight move if I needed to. But in this case particular, I wasn't actually looking for a lot of high R multiple. It just so happens that I got caught in the range, which is what affected a lot of my average time. You can also go through all the stats and take a look at what days you perform best, time, all that type of stuff, right? But so far, that's what that looks like for me. From a calendar perspective, this is basically the P&L thus far. I haven't had a red day yet. I say yet because it may happen. We don't know. I didn't trade Friday at all for futures. I only traded on options, which is why there's no action at all. Something that's cool also about the calendar, as you can probably see, is that you also see the news that day. So it kind of also plays into like when you took that trade, what were some of the things that may have potentially have affected that as well, right? And also the thing I'd also like to highlight, because some people have asked me on YouTube already, is like, hey, Alan, are these all, did you take 10 trades that day? Some of it, it's not actually the actual trade. And I say this again, just for those who are new that are following. When I enter, for example, a 3 contract trade, if I'm trimming it, me entering is 1 trade. Each contract I trim off is a second trade. And so that's why some of the data is a little bit skewed here. I know that the founder, Alex, is working on refining this so that for the next refresh and what have you, it's going to not include it in that way. But so just FYI, if you're wondering, no, I don't take 10 trades. I think people in the Discord know I don't take that many trades either. But with that said, though, I don't copy trade either. So I do trade individually. So if I do trade 10 trades, sometimes that could be true because if I have 5 accounts and I'm trading each of them 2 times, that equates to 10 trades. So it is possible, right? So I just wanted to make sure that I highlighted that. This is still much lower than before because I've had months before where I've had 25 trades, for example. I mean, mind you, that was my record trading day ever in my career, which is like a $24,000 day. But there are days where I will have a significant amount of trades. So that's not uncommon. I just wanted to make sure I highlight that. So anyways, P&L performance has been great so far. Taking a look at payouts as well. You can see my total all-time payouts, my 2025 payouts, as well as this year so far. Been off to a phenomenal start. Almost at 6 figures with us being 5 weeks into the year. And you can see this in this past week here, the week that we're currently in, right? Between, February the 2nd onwards. 3,000, 3,000, 3,000, 1,500, 4,500. So just between that, 10,005, that's about what, 15 grand? Yeah, it's about 15,000. So $15,000 payout just in this past week. So it's been a good week. It's been a good week. I think that if I can continue to maintain the consistency coming into the second week as well, I should be able to replicate this again because I have these same accounts essentially, right? I haven't really been taking much trades on my Take Profit Trader Pro accounts, which if you look in the past, that's where a lot of my payouts came from, was Take Profit take Profit Trader Pro accounts. But anyways, so right now I cycle through it. If you've been following along, you know that I don't trade every single account all the time. If the market doesn't offer me more, or if I don't have the time to trade them, then I trade what I can. I take what the market gives me. I don't overstay my welcome. And I can't stress that enough. That's been a big critical point for my mentals as well, is that I take the time that I take in the market and then I walk away. There are so many other things that I got to do in life for me, being a father, and being a good son to my mom, with all like the things I have to deal with on that end as well. But then also business, man. Like entrepreneurship takes a great deal of my time as I work with entrepreneurs and restaurants and what have you. So this is just kind of high level. We're going to the stats around my dashboard, my calendar, as well as payouts so far. It's been a good year so far. I'm going to keep focusing on it and be disciplined. I'm going to pivot this chart over now though to the chart that we're trading view chart here. Give me 1 second. There you are. Sorry, I just had a little bit of issue there. I'm probably going to edit that part out so that you don't see that long delay. But this is the chart. So right now is the NQ. We look at the daily. We had a pretty strong bounce here at a pretty key spot on the daily range. And so what I'm looking for on the day coming into Globex is, there's a possibility we might kind of retrace before we move higher. But what I'm looking for is I am looking for us to move higher from here up into at least somewhere in this 25.5 range. And that's assuming that we do continue this downtrend. In a world where this week becomes a continuation downtrend where we melt down, I would look for us to move up a little bit more before we retrace back down, okay? That's key for me. I'm not going to just assume we're just going to melt down. Now, that's my kind of short thought process right now. But in the end, we are still technically in this range. And it's a wide range at that, but it's a range nevertheless. So the way I'm looking at this is that we may still just bounce back and forth, and I'll mentally be prepared for that. But as soon as we have some sort of a breakout in either direction, I will be prepared to trade into the trend, which is what I'm looking for. Up to this point, and I've said this with my students as well as the Discord community, I've been just taking my 1 to 2R and been content with it. I haven't been sizing too heavy. I mean, I might be heavy for those who are, used to trading micros or whatever, but on both futures and on options, I haven't been trading heavy. I've been trading comfortable size at that. I am waiting for us to have a clear trend of direction before I actually size higher. And to give you a perspective of that is that on options, for example, right now I'm trading on average like $1,000 position size to $3,000 position size. Doesn't mean that I'm risking all of it, but that's a size that I'm trading with right now. Once we actually start trending, I'm going to increase that size to $5,000 to $7,000. And so whenever the market decides to finally trend, that is likely when I'm going to size up, which means I expect that I will likely break my options trading record this year at some point. And I don't mean a consolidation, but like record trade in 1 day with options, right? I'm anticipating that this is going to happen some point this year. With futures, I mean, I do trade 3 minis already, and that's pretty large in size. I don't know if I'm going to size up higher than that. If anything, I might just hold my trades for longer, which with that same size, if we find some trending markets. But as of right now, that's what my expectation is. If we do have a downside, I want us to see us to move up first into this 25.4 to 2500, 25.5, sorry, before we come back down. Or otherwise, I'm prepared to just trade this daily range back and forth. So we'll see what the chart offers us. It's honestly not as clear as we'd like to believe. So for now, I'm going to continue just trading what the market provides me. So anyways, that's kind of like my quick update. I guess options as well. So far for the weekend, I'm off to a great start. If you guys remember, my January month, I closed off at $30,000 in profit. Right now with 1 week in, I'm like around $13,000 already in profit for options. So that's already pacing better than I did last month. Again, doesn't mean anything though. It doesn't mean that I can't lose trades in the coming months, coming weeks here or days, or it might have even a stronger push. Who knows? I'm not sure. I'm not going to focus too much on those arbitrary goals. I'll let the chart tell me what opportunities there are, and I will size and I will hold accordingly based on that. So anyways, hopefully that's been, helpful. Going into this week, I am starting my mentorship 4.0 because I've already cut off that wait list from last week. So I'll be quite bogged down. So my video content sharing might slow down a little bit over the next 2 weeks, as the next 2 weeks I will be bogged in those sessions and those class settings with my group. And then from there, I'm going to be doing one-on-ones with the students, right? So anyways, with that, good luck this week. Don't do anything too crazy. It's not really clear yet where we're headed. And especially if you're trading metals, like gold, platinum, and stuff like that, definitely be careful. These days, even trading micros can blow your account quite quickly. So, anyways, with that, I'll catch you guys around next time.